This is a good time to start. Again, good morning, everyone. We'll go to the roll call. Our clerk.
Where to start? Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Commissioner Thunder.
Here.
Commissioner Henning.
Here.
Commissioner Fox. Here.
Okay, if you join me with the opening prayer, and I'll ask Commissioner Jarvis to start us on the pledge after that. But Father, we join together to represent the people of our county to conduct the business of Lapeer County. We ask for your guidance as we consider the issues involved. We ask for your watchfulness over the staff and the families that they represent. We ask that you also bless this county, the people here as they face many opportunities. They have blessed with many things, but also face many challenges. Help us not to forget the many things that you do for us daily and in our lives. Help us to be led by the direction that you offer. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the agenda. Do we have any additional items? None. Not, I entertain a motion for approval. So moved. Support. Have a motion and support. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, meeting minutes to approve from May 18th. Support. Support. Any discussion or correction? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Do we have potentially some things passing? We're to look at, they're not necessary. We don't always have those folders. There are no items to. Now, elected officials have a chance to. Elected officials and department heads have a chance to report on their departments and programs. See the sheriff.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm not going to do stats or anything. I'm a little short today because I have to. I got programs at a bunch of elementaries today, so I'll be doing that. That's what I apologize. But we are really excited today. Obviously, we sat and talked about where we've been at, hiring, and all the other things. We are going to do a swearing in this morning that is one that I think we're all excited about. Deputy Vogt is a Michigan State graduate. She's got a bachelor's from Michigan State, so she was hired immediately as she applied. But then she's also got a master's degree in public administration. So Lindsay has been in law enforcement for almost 15 years. She's actually our first lateral transfer that we worked on of bringing somebody over. I say this just because obviously with the wage study and all that coming, even with her transfer over on the lateral side, she took a large pay cut to come here. She's been at Davidson City for about 10 years. One fun part about this, I think we always talk about when they come up, what we look for hiring is family and people that fit the community. Lindsay has had a fantastic police career already. It's nice when she first started to apply, is me coming, we're retired out of Genesee County. I couldn't tell you between Jeremy and I how many phone calls we got of how fantastic she does as a law enforcement officer. She is, to meet her, she's bright, she is extremely intelligent, she's a fantastic cop. I think going back to, again, when we say this, and we can bring her up, one of the fun things too about it is her husband is the new fire chief, Mike, at Lapeer City. Come on up, Mike. And then the man of the hour, Gibson, their little guy here. Come on up, buddy. He's all embarrassed now. But obviously, with the community of now having Lindsay here on the sheriff's department and with the family and having Chief here, in the community. I think one of the biggest things coming from that, even the commitment she made not only financially, but with that, but in our interviews and stuff, and obviously Chief and I have actually known each other for quite some time from Genesee County. We just had lunch here a couple weeks ago, and to hear that people choose Lapeer as where they want to be, not only professionally, but to raise their son. I think it's just a huge commitment, and that's what we're looking for with this. You're going to see, and I'll have Lindsay do all that. How many family members they have? It's actually like Christmas morning here. But that's what we look for, is people that are here that are supportive of their family, and to get to know. Obviously, I know Lindsay and Mike pretty well. You see that in them. You see how they're built as family. You see exactly what we're looking for at the Sheriff's Department, and obviously the Chief here. And the relationships we have between police and fire is just huge. So we'll do the swearing in, and then I'll give Lindsay a chance to speak. Okay. Raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
Or affirm. That I will support. The Constitution. Of the United States. And the Constitution of. This state. I will faithfully discharge. The duties of. Deputy Sheriff. In and for. County of Lapeer. State of Michigan. To the best of my ability. Welcome to the family. Now Chief gets to do the fun part of pinning her. Yeah. Well, I don't want to get in trouble, because this is the hardest thing to do on these uniforms.
She had to do mine, and it was just as good.
Family, you're happy to take any picture, stand up, whatever you'd like to do also. We could have Chief do it again, just to put him through the pressure of it. Yeah, exactly. Anything you guys would like to say to the commission or to the public?
Very excited to be here, very blessed. I feel very fortunate to be a part of the Sheriff family, and it's a big change, but it's so far everything's been amazing. Everybody at the Sheriff's Office and in the community is very welcoming, and I'm very happy to be here. So thank you so much.
Very blessed.
Thank
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Absolutely. Family, you're welcome to come out here and take pictures also.
Losing a cat already.
I told you, it's like Christmas here today. Scott, nice to meet you. Pleasure.
Okay, so moving on to other departments. Wish to report.
I'm gonna shut this just a little bit, so it's not too loud.
I'm gonna give you guys an update on parks. So we're gonna open the parks the weekend of June 11th through the 12th for that weekend.
Can't shut the door. Wait a second. By the way, this is John Muscle. He hasn't introduced himself.
I have not.
Okay.
So both parks will be open June 11th through the 12th that weekend. Then the following week, June 17th, which is on a Friday, we will open full time from that day. Both parks, full time.
So June 12th, weekend.
June 11th, June 12th will be open that weekend, and June 17th, full time after that.
So every day.
Right, both parks.
And if people want to double check that things are open, because occasionally we've had to close because we didn't have lifeguards.
Right, it'll be on our Facebook page, and also they can call the office.
Good, and again, reminder, we're talking the water park features of the county parks. Otherwise, the parks are always open.
That's correct. This is, right, this
Without
is the water park.
lifeguards doesn't matter.
Correct. Any questions?
How are we on the lifeguard front?
We have right around 20, a little over 20 lifeguards and full attendance. So we're doing pretty good. We should go both parks 7 days. they come rolled in at the end. That question come in.
John, how are you doing as far as your, how you have staffing shortages for various reasons? How are you guys doing with the workload?
We're behind, but we did get Bo back on restricted duty. He can mow lawns, so that is a plus. And as far as the position, we still haven't hired that position, we just haven't found the right candidate yet. We are behind. Right now, I have Ben that works for Building and Grounds is out to the park helping, trying to get him open. He's working out there today. Nick was out there yesterday, so we're trying to share some of the load out there to get the parks done. So we are getting a little behind in the building to look at it.
For the public, you should be aware that we really dumped a lot here on John and the staff, particularly because we've had the ARPA money and he's spearheaded so many of our projects on that for infrastructure. It's added to your gray hair. If nothing else.
Getting worse every day. All right, we all right? Thank you guys.
Other programs, departments, that we like to reward at this point. Seeing none, invite any members of the public that want to come forward and make 3 minutes of comments. This is your time.
You're in the top down, who you are. Thank you.
She said here is Hadley Township. Good morning. It's good to see 5 of you here on this beautiful morning. I just want to notify the board and public that sometime on Friday, tomorrow, there will be a release by a federal judge reference to cybersecurity agency and an issue of a warning on voting machine software vulnerabilities. It will be coming out tomorrow. It was announced from the Associated Press, 31 May. They will be, the judge will release that information. And I found it strange that, number one, the computer scientist is from the University of Michigan. His name is Alex Halderman. He was part of the team that did this for the federal judge. I'm not going to bore you all by reading what I have highlighted, but I do want to let you know that Associated Press did take this, so you can look it up yourself. And it was released May 31st. That they will be releasing the information tomorrow. And the U.S. District Judge Amy Tottenberg, who's overseeing the case, has expressed concern about releasing the report, worrying about the potential for hacking and the misuse of sensitive election system information. She agreed in February that the report could be shared with the CISA, which promised to work with Halderman and Dominion to analyze potential vulnerabilities and then help jurisdictions that use the machines to test and apply any protection. The only statement, strangely enough, that Dominion made was their machines are accurate and secure, period. They didn't want to talk about it anymore. So, report's coming due tomorrow. Hopefully, everybody will look. I'm not usually the one that stands up here and hammers election integrity because I figure there's enough other people doing it. But just wanted to let you all know.
Other members of the public that would like to comment now. Okay, seeing none. Move on in our agenda. We have notice of appointment, Committee of Mental Health. We had an application that was handed out last meeting for Donna Shelton. And I'm aware of no other nominations?
I make a motion to move Donna Shelton.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion with support. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. So she is selected. Okay, Lawrence, go ahead and add to his board.
Yes.
Good. Truth and taxation for 2022. We have motions that I think the board is aware of. I don't know, is anybody here to talk about the issue?
Taxation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is this Lisa?
Yes.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry.
My name is Lisa Griffin. I'm the equalization doctor.
I apologize. I didn't recognize you.
Oh, that's okay. I've not been here before. So, but the purpose today is to have the board approve the attached to the taxation calendar for fiscal year 2022 and adopt the draft resolution. So the date is June 16th for the taxation public hearing.
Okay, so does everybody understand the motion? I'll move it. Support. And do we have seconds? Motion and support. Any discussion? Any questions about either the calendar or what we're doing? This is always an interesting time to try to explain why we're doing
Yeah.
truth and taxation. And why do we have to do this?
So truth in taxation is, anytime there's any increase, they're required to have a truth in taxation hearing. Or you can also do it through the budget process, but separate truth in taxation hearing is to, just, notify the public that there will be an increase in taxes.
But in reality, is there an increase in taxes?
There will be some increase, because of but there is a millage rollback as well. So
It looks to me like the millage rate is going down.
the millage rate's going down, but the consumer price index was 3.3%, so that did go up for taxable value.
It's an ongoing issue. Our millage rate keeps shrinking. Due to,
Yes, the rollback, correct.
okay, administration, any comments or things that you want to say at this point? We'll talk more about this as we head on with our calendar, follow through on the public hearing. As necessary, discuss it then. Any further discussion from the board? Seeing none?
We need a roll call, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yeah.
Commissioner Dunder,
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis. Yes. Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank
Glad
you.
to have you here.
Glad to be here.
I think we'll see you some more.
Yes. June 16th, we'll see you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the agenda. We have a couple resolutions. First one is the resolution. Again, both these are resolutions we talked about at last meeting. The first one is something that is the encouragement, concurrence from our Register of Deeds and also from our treasurer. I think as the board is aware. Can we get a motion?
I'll make the motion to move. This is concerning Zillow and Fire Corporation. Take control of the property. So this is proposing that kind of a form, a national form for a private company to do that.
Have a motion to support. Further discussion. We did discuss this a little last time. Notice that the letter particularly from the treasurer was impassioned that we're going to lose a potentially significant income to the county if the state is to enact these bills. Okay, Any further debate, discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders?
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis? Yes. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes. Thank you. The second resolution we have, and the board's aware, we just got a revised copy.
And the revised all it did was who we're sending it to, so that'll be, yeah.
Okay, Mike, you want to read that, so the public's aware of not only what's in the packet, but what we added?
Yeah, on the resolution, it was concerning, U.S. Department of Labor has published a notice of proposed rulemaking for Wagner Pfizer Act staffing, and which would require states with no acceptance to use state merit staff to provide Wagner employment services. They're trying to take this more control again. We just have a bill, make this more federal control, and take it out of the hands of our local control. And so this resolution to help us with Mission Works, which does a great job here locally and also the Tri-County area. So the added to the bottom of that though is that the copy of this resolution to be sent to Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Speaker of the Michigan House of Representatives, Major Leader of the Michigan Senate, and U.S. Senators Gary Peters and Ben Stefanoff, Congressional Representative Lisa McLean, State Senator Kevin Bailey, State Representative Gary Howell, and Chief Executive Officer of Michigan Works, Jody Ferguson. That is the resolution. Motion, make a motion for it.
Would, unless I'm missing something here, would you take a friendly amendment to add back?
Oh, I guess I forgot to accomplish that. So, additional to that, we'll have her add this, we're going to get it to you with that. We'll add Mac also to that list of people who can contact. Sorry about that. Michigan Association of Commissioners.
Okay, any further discussion about the resolution? Seeing none, then roll call.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis? Yes. Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes. Okay, we're moving fairly quickly on, and have committee of the whole motions. And we'll ask Commissioner Warren to bring those forward.
I'll make a motion for, supported to recommend the full board to authorize the Senate court to accept and electronically submit to access, and resignation grant number SCA 22219, amendment for fiscal year 2022, further to authorize the chair, vice chair to sign said amendment and motion. That will be my motion go forward.
Motion, any second? Support. Again, this is, I think, adds $1,000 to local visitation opportunities. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Okay, personnel chair. Acting.
Yes.
We appreciate your acting in that, thanks.
Actually, my phone is not pulling up. There's no motion.
Sorry.
All right, I'll move, both motion one and motion two on, personnel draft motion.
Well, briefly, review those.
So, motion one is in regards to, CMH, who asked to fill a, full-time peer support specialist in the Harmony Hall positions. And then motion number two, is to, in front of the court to to fill a full-time enforcement officer to their office, for just simple vacancies that needed replacement.
No additional cost to the county.
Yeah, no additional cost to the county.
Okay, that you have the motion, or support. Commissioner Warren. And the friend of the court was a move within the county. Any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Okay. Pretty standard for those. Ad hoc planning updates. Anything, let's see, county administrator?
Yes, I just have a few updates. Last week, I attended the Michigan Association of Counties Administrative Officers Conference. This is just where the 83 county administrator controllers, we meet, we discuss issues that are pertinent to county government. And we do this in an atmosphere where we're just talking about issues not inhibited by, it's not a big vendor, it's actually a very small group, but we covered a lot of information. I'd like to just give you updates on four key takeaways. The first one is in regards to broadband funding. The BEAD, this is the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program. It's been issued in May and prohibits the exclusion of local governments for applying for grant funds. Why that is important? Because BEAD is one of a major funding source for broadband, and it will require a private partner to come along. Now, that private partner could look like an ISP, it could look like a nonprofit, but essentially, they're not, at this point, they're not allowing local governments to be the grant writer. You can accompany a grant, but you can't be the author of the grant. That's an important piece to clarify. As we go after that type of money, we will need to isolate a partner we can partner with. So we have some planning ahead of us for that. I thought that was important to mention. Also, I've been asked to join the MAC. This is MAC as a whole, the MAC's Broadband Task Force. There's a group of about 8 of us from around the state who have had an interest in broadband development. I gave a presentation at the MACO conference while I was there about the future goals and what we're trying to do, and they later had asked me to join that task force. I'll be providing updates as I attend more of those meetings and learn more about it. Second big takeaway in regards to the secondary road patrol revenue. So currently there are House bills on the floor right now. There are 4 of them. And what they're proposing to do is restrict $15 million from the liquor tax and then move that to the secondary road patrol and training fund. This is important for law enforcement. We've heard before from our sheriff how important it is for our people to be trained appropriately. And we are woefully underfunded in our local budget to provide training. The secondary road patrol revenue stream through those House bills would help alleviate some of that. We are still a long way to go to be appropriately funded. And when you spread out $15 million against the state's road patrol across the entire state, still won't be, we'll take what we can get in terms of that, but it's not a major increase, but that is worth noting. Okay.
How much do we currently get from secondary road patrol from the state?
Covers one officer.
Wow.
And we currently have, correct me if I'm wrong, 33. So we're covered for 1.
Sorry.
Every dollar, the point is every dollar that we can find for secondary road patrol training is important. So that's one of the takeaways. Another takeaway is a Republican-led tax plan. It's on its way to the governor right now. This is in the form of House Bill 4568. This is a tax cut plan. Cuts the state income tax from 4.25 to 4%. It increases deductions for seniors, provides tax credits for dependents that are 19 years of age, and increases the earned income tax credit. Tax credit is things you can write off dollar for dollar in taxes. Right now, it is sitting as a bill. It is not being negotiated by the governor, as she has her own plan moving forward, as reported by MAC. Written within this tax cut plan by the Republicans is a veterans property tax exemption reimbursement bill to the tax cut plan. According to MAC, governor has threatened to veto this, which would derail the veterans property tax exemption. So for those who are wanting to follow the tax cut plan, it is House Bill 4568. That's all I have.
Chief Financial Officer, anything to add?
Nothing to add at this time.
We have a couple housekeeping motions that we need. Just I'll call on Commissioner Warren to do those audit motions.
Moving the motion for road commission's audit motions, $50,089.14. And then approve following following expenditures for expensive checks for the amount of $2,541,367.26.
We have the controller's signature.
And the adding the road signature.
He approves. Motion and support. No discussion, but if there is, let me know. So all those in favor?
As said before, we just paid $2.5 million hard-earned taxpayer dollars.
We need to roll call vote here.
Sorry.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Younger,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Okay, this meeting, as those who've been coming regularly, full board meetings can be pretty quick. This one has been quicker than normal, but won't set any record, I'm sure. So public time is coming in. There's a lot of time that the public wants to come.
It was a great surprise for me this morning when I walked through the door and I look over and I see a cousin I haven't seen for years. And she just happens to be the mother-in-law of the new person at the sheriff's department. And then also her son is, I believe, now, yeah, fire chief. It's awesome to have them here. So great family. So I'm just so happy. I just had a couple of things having to do with the masks. There's so many reports, tests coming out that these mask mandates have done nothing but hurt people's health in that and good. And these are great studies. The latest study, new Lancet study, destroys the CDC's justification for school mask mandates. And the Lancet is a world-renowned medical journal, and it just debunks it. It debunks it. We can't let this happen again. We can't. It has destroyed the health. My youngest daughter now has he's in his early 30s, in the hospital, has chest pains and can't breathe, and he's now in ICU in Lee City, struggling for his life. And it's just too often, you guys. And then the law office of Jimmy Thomas is, I don't know if you guys know, but in Detroit, where they're going to do these trainings for poll watchers and election workers, they're mandating masks for anybody that wants to take this training. And Ryan Kelly is one of the people that is bringing this. Well, I don't know if it's a suit yet, but it's definitely a letter from Jimmy Thomas and Christopher Shormack, and they are questioning and going against this mask mandate that Detroit is asking people to do. I mean, people have not worn masks this whole time. These people have said we're not doing it, and now because they want to be an election worker, they're being told that they have to wear a mask, which is ridiculous. They don't work. The last thing is the Biden administration is tying federal education funding to LGBT mandates. They're tying it to schools, and one of the things the U.S. Department, they're tying it to schools not only for funding, but it has to do with lunch funding. What does this have to do with eating? When our lunch programs have to go by this Title IX, everybody eats. So I don't know, I don't understand where that has to go. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture said this month it will change how it interprets Title IX prohibitions on discrimination based on sex to include discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. If you can throw a hay bale, you're hired. It doesn't matter. And this is just so wrong. And I just hope that anybody that has any pull anywhere can at least stand up for this. You know, we all know we're equal. And that just these special bills and these special laws are just not necessary. Thank you.
Other members of the public wish to comment? Oh, sorry. I see.
Hi. Jane Beckwith, Marathon Township. Good morning. I was attending a meeting last night in Michigan Lapeer. And so I just kind of want to echo a little bit of what Alan was talking about earlier. Very concerned about our election integrity. So I'm a poll worker. I'm signed up to be a poll worker down in Detroit. So I am concerned about this mask mandate that has come up. And I also read the letter that Mr. Kelly has written. But what I'm worried about or concerned about is that we focus on Detroit. We focus on, that's where, that's where we really have to be concerned about election integrity. But, we need to be concerned about election integrity right here in Lapeer County. And my concern is I don't feel or see that we are really doing anything or taking any action to look into our election process here in Lapeer. Because I think that we are a good community, but I think because we think that, then we think we're okay. We think that there couldn't possibly be any election crime going on here. But I assure you, there is, and there was. And so my concern is about the Dominion machines that we do have in, I don't know how many, but I do know personally in our township, we have them. We have the Dominion machines. My other concern is our drop boxes. And do we have any checks and balances there? I will be looking into Marathon Township because I haven't asked this question yet, and I haven't pursued this yet. But I want to know whether or not we have surveillance over our Dropbox in Marathon Township. And so if I'm asking these questions and I'm wondering about this, I think we all together as a community and as county board, we should be asking these questions on a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? Okay, good. If not, then we'll move on to commissioner comments. And Commissioner Miller, we'll start on this side.
All right. I actually had a question. I see John actually left, so maybe quick you can answer it. Do you know if we bid out our collision and car maintenance services on a regular basis, or do we just work with? I think our contracts with, or we seem to work with Goodyear and Denise Collision.
That's a question for John Bussell. That's a question for John. I wouldn't know his maintenance schedule, what type of arrangement he has. I would have to follow up with John on that one.
Okay. That's a question I had for him, and I guess I'll ask him next time I see him around. The other two things I just want to make comment to. One is the tax bill that's going through the Michigan legislature. Definitely keep an eye on it. I don't expect the governor's going to sign it. She's just hell-bent on not signing any tax cuts for fiscal responsibility, she says. And then you look at the budget, and they're over by how much? You know how much they're over? Not putting a couple $2 billion, I think, in the budget. So,
More income than.
Yeah, way more income than they have expenses, which we already know at the state level. The state already had plenty of money 2 years ago, and now they have even more money now with the COVID stuff. So interesting to see that none of it's going to trickle down to local government. Well, at least I don't suspect any of it's going to trickle down to local government who actually does the work that the state, is supposed to do and fulfills so many of its offices. Why we here are struggling to keep our officers paid and are having to ask the public for 1.45 mils to make sure our officers are paid a decent wage. So that's on the state government. I guess I would encourage, everyone in public to make that clear to the governor's election that you're not okay with the state keeping all this money for themselves when it's us who actually gets the work done. Last thing I'll say, actually on the Title IX and all that stuff that Carol had mentioned, Interestingly enough, I was able to be a part of the Mont Community College Discrimination Policy Committee, which sets out to create a new discrimination policy. I gotta say, I was the only right-leaning person on that committee. It was interesting. The mindset is just totally different, disconnected, I guess you could say. So, just as a very interesting, I fought for what you're talking about, Carol. You know, inclusion of everybody without having to list out. I mean, literally, there was somebody on that board who wanted to list out every status. It was going to be a page long, the discrimination policy. Absolutely ridiculous. But it's an interesting experience. So I'll leave it at that.
I do have a few things. And as I said, people know I'm going to say something. Today I'm going to say a few things pop up as I sit here. First of all, before I start, I would like everybody to take a moment of silence this week and say a prayer for Lenny and for Gary Roy. We expect to see both of them back, but with their illnesses, we do want to help them get a fast healing. So I want to put that out there for everybody. As of today, there's been the Queen being honored for 70 years as a monarch, one person all those years, which is unique to the world. That's a big event for those who are involved in that. I'm concerned. They've been a monarch for over 1,000 years. Today, or this year, July 4th, will be 246 years the United States will be here. Only 246 years. We've made some great strides. But it'd be a shame to see that go to waste. And that's coming. So I talked a bit like when I talk, because there's some stuff that's really happening right before our eyes. And a lot of people aren't even paying attention. A lot of people. It's amazing. Leaders, everybody, I'm appalled by how many people are just, I don't know what's going on. Nothing's happening around my world. It's right in your backyard. It's not across the street in DC. It's right here in Lapeer County. You guys heard some stuff come up today. It's in Lapeer. Talking about election integrity. There's stuff going on in Arizona about that stuff right now. I don't know what the final vote was, but we're hearing about that. We'll hear more about that. There'll be more information coming out of the Dominion machine. It's coming out in a few months. I sent out a text. I didn't send out by any Facebook, anything like that. I text the video of 2,000 meals to all the leaders in Lapeer County. I don't know how many watched it, or how many are even concerned about it. I haven't heard any response. And as I've asked for the last 2 years for leaders to stand up, I don't want to be speaking out. I didn't even want to be in this position. But when you say you're going to stand up to the people that you asked to elect you, then you have a right to stand up for their constitutional rights. We are taking an oath for our office here today. Standing up for the constitutional right and people are going to defend it. I took that oath and I take it seriously. I was defending both foreign and domestic. Domestic means right here in this county. The constitutional rights are being overtaken every single day. And getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. We hear talk about masks. Some people say, well, we don't wear masks around here. That may be true, but I have to make a difference. We have people still in this county that aren't working because they didn't follow the protocol on masks or vaccines today. So you're hearing it, and the news is preparing you because election's coming up. I don't know if you heard about monkeypox yet, but yes, it's coming. It really isn't going to affect you, but you're going to live in fear about monkeypox for the next 9 months, I think. Everybody in here is going to think, I might have that. I might get it. They're going to try to bring back masks. We're already getting ready to challenge that. Federal judge in Florida wants to challenge the mask on airplanes already. When I'm speaking to you, I'm not speaking because of what I'm hearing. I'm speaking because it also affects my family as well as your family. I personally know people, personally, close by, that is right now, but have an antibody, had COVID, and isn't going to get anybody sick or contagious, has to wear a mask. In public settings, to keep their job. You guys aren't even aware that this stuff is really still going on. They keep their job. Today, when the majority of the people that are working in the company have vaccines and have COVID right now, the people who didn't wear the mask or didn't get vaccinated have to wear masks. Like they have the cooties or something. I don't know what kind of country you grew up in, but that is absolutely absurd and wrong. Now, I heard him talk about discrimination. So everybody in here, if you got vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, but if you did, you have to wear a mask. But we're going to put our mask on and say, I got the cooties to let you know that. Isn't that discrimination? You're pointing me out. I'm not saying me, I'm just talking in general for anybody in that position. And people ask me all the time, and I'm talking to leaders, and they're like, well, what are we supposed to do, right? I hear you say we got to do something. Well, we do. You got to quit complaining to your neighbors, quit watching the news media, and get out in front of these meetings and start talking to your leaders. Well, what are you doing for us? Did you see the movie? And what did you do about it? Are you questioning? She asked her, are you questioning? At her township. As a county, we should be questioning. The vending machines still have not been answered yet to this day. We heard last week, I was appalled, it really just hit me the wrong way. We had somebody talk about a man, didn't even know. Heard he was from another country. That man that she was talking about wasn't Indian. But he's an American citizen today. He served in the Reagan White House. He was arrested by Obama because he made a movie. In America, he made a movie and he got arrested. He finally got freed. He's making more movies that protect you. He doesn't have to do that. But he's bringing that information to you. The movie he did was he produced a movie with documentary of expert witnesses, of experts that did the investigation. He didn't do any investigation. But the American people are all geared right now in their mind to listen to their newspaper. Even the local newspaper will control your mind. How they feel about you, what they will print about you. What you say, they can twist it. They do that. I'm not, don't get me wrong, we're not blaming them for you or County Press or anybody. But I'm just saying it happens all over the country. We have to start standing up and paying attention and start asking common sense questions about our family and our protection. It's your children, your grandchildren. They're not going to see the world that you see today if we don't do something. So this week, South Florida, they're putting in defending the public. They're filing class action suits for the military because the military are people that are losing their jobs. How unconstitutional it is. We have to go to court to stand up for our own constitution because our leaders aren't standing up for it. Our military people, they're defending the freedom for you to be able to speak out, have to fight for their rights because we can't fight for them. When they went to battle, they were putting their neck on the line for us. We're not even standing up for them. We heard about the baby formula. We've known about that for a while, but the government still hasn't done anything, and it's not moving fast enough forward. So we couldn't get our formula from Canada because it wouldn't be good, or someplace else it wouldn't be good. That was last year, at the beginning of the year, and now they're starting to ship it in. Why are we shipping formula in from another country? Beyond me. We have the largest producer right here in Michigan. They're finally starting to get to move because when people are starting to talk, but it's going to be a delay. You think that's serious? Food shortages are coming. They are coming. We're worried about it. All that money you talk about, extra money, that comes to the people. Money's going to Ukraine, it's going to this place or that place, and the government's putting money in their pockets. We have Joe Biden, who we caught on tape committing a crime, and we allowed him to run for president of the United States. And we don't want to question that because he's the president. You, as an American citizen, are called we the people, are the government. And until you stand up and protect your own rights, these guys are going to trample all over you. We have to start asking our leaders questions. So talk about shortages. No, there's no truck shortage. There's no shortages. The CEO, I got it on video, 3 weeks ago, talking to the government because They're trying to, only company, largest, they got 20% producing of the gas. And that's Pilot gas stations. You've probably seen them all over the country when you drive. Biggest producer of diesel, supplier of diesel to people, the truckers. They want them to cut back on their diesel that they're selling, 25%. He goes, you know what that's going to do to inflation? You know what that's going to do to our truck drivers? They can't afford it. And the older trucks that are over 2009, it's going to put them out of business. You don't think you're going to have food shortages coming down the road? You better ask your leaders what's going on. Discrimination policies, that's probably the worst. Corporations, large, General Motors, Ford, Stripes, I don't care which one you have, any major corporation have our woke policies going on right now. You don't know if you're a boy or a girl. That's kind of shameful that we're asking those silly questions. It's shameful that you even have to make a list for 2 discrimination policies, let alone a whole page and a half he's talking about. I would ask my leader, what do you do about it? My thing to the public is, locally it's effective right now. It's shameful that we have to even abide by any of these things and these masks, just because they're trying to control this election again. It's not going to happen because we the people are going to stand up. It's got to stop. So I tell you again, before you do anything, get with your neighbor, not just yourself. There's always so many voices, and there's the same voices we hear. But it's you and your neighbor, and then your neighbor to get a neighbor. And you'll have a whole bunch of people, and this will stop tomorrow. But if we don't keep bringing our neighbors, we're just going to keep talking. Wonder why it's happening to us. Back in the day when it became the United States, these people walked on this land without anything. Can you imagine a life without no gas station, no cars? You had to grind up work and feed your family, grow your own food out of nothing and build yourself a shelter. But today we can't even question our leaders. Come on. America, we better wake up. We better make up fast. That's all I have to say today. I know it's long. Go ahead.
Just a few brief comments. One is probably more.
Commissioner Zender, if you had I didn't want you to skip over.
Be fast.
Okay, I want to make sure. Okay, just looking out for you, Brian. That's all.
It's at least more relevant to talk about monkeypox than Johnny Depp. So, the less I hear of Johnny Depp, the better.
I didn't bring them up.
I'm glad. Everywhere else, I do. Bill reports really in groups. It's amazing how many of our meetings seem to be held in the first few weeks of the month. That would be a warning to future board members. They're not spread all over the month. They end up seeming to be in a couple weeks, and then the end of the month gets sort of quiet. We have no committees today. Election integrity, I guess, was the one thing I thought I would mention. I did find there was a law passed on election integrity regarding drop boxes. So there's a procedure and policies that units of government are supposed to use if they have drop boxes. But it is something that is grandfathered in, I think, from the law. I believe it was 2020. So those that have drop boxes before, my understanding is they don't have to change them. Obviously, it's up to any of the local citizens in those districts make contact with their voting clerks to talk about, or their boards talk about changes to make them safer. But anybody that hasn't done it should be conforming to the law that was passed in 2020. Any other matter? One last motion. Support. All those in favor? Sure.
Did you get my email on Saturday?